In today's Nonsense Wars production, we finally look at Spybotics again. This time we look at two different bots, the 3808 Shadowstrike and the 3809 Technojaw, and at different challenges which require two bots and/or two players. We did not choose these two bots specifically. We just got a good deal for the pair on eBay. If we had a choice, we may have chosen the 3807 Snaptrax, which feels a bit more different. Either way, compared to the Gigamesh, the Technojaw and the Shadowstrike had similar part counts and identical pricing, though our used copies came as loose collection of parts without any of the original packaging. Both bots come with the same kinds of parts as well. A bunch of early studless bits in mostly black and pearl light gray. Their accent colors mostly feature on their core canopies, and the Technojaw also uses Rock Raider wheels for its idlers. Like before, the instructions only come in digital form, and like before, they have the same features. The movable callouts often cover the steps themselves, and the part colors often display inconsistently. For example, all three parts shown in this sample step are black. We also get plenty of more and less useful animations and plenty of more and less weird early studless assemblies. All of the Spybots have the same driving features, but recall that the Gigamesh has a spinning greeble powered by one side's drivetrain. The Technojaw and Shadowstrike have slightly more sophisticated accessories. Each bot has an under-actuated mechanism connected to both sides' drivetrains. Each side of the Technojaw drives one side of a claw. When the bot drives forward, the claw opens, and when the bot drives backwards, the claw closes. In practice, this means that the claw can fairly easily grab something, but not very easily release it. Each side of the Shadowstrike drives an entire gripper. When the bot drives forward, the grippers raise and open, and when the bot drives backwards, the grippers lower and close. The position and orientation of these grippers make them much less usable than the Technojaw claw, but they still look pretty cool. A little bit surprisingly, the different colored remotes and cores don't generate and receive unique signals. By default, any of the controllers will control any of the cores and multiple cores if in range. In order to drive different Spybots with different remotes, we need to switch to link mode. Then, holding a remote in front of a bot, press one of the three channels followed by the link button. The core should play a tune to indicate a successful pairing. Now we can finally look at some missions. we will do a 2-bot, 2-player mission, a 2-bot, 1-player mission, and a 1-bot, 2-player mission. See the end of part 1 for sample video with audio of the mission briefs, etc. Face Off is a 2-bot, 2-player mission where spy bots need to stun the opposing bot using actions and ramming and eventually lure it back to base. We tried this mission when we first got the Technojaw and Shadowstrike, and it gave us so much trouble that we did not return to Spybotics for a year and a half. Most annoyingly, the bots don't seem to act the way they act in the sample video. When one of the spy bots get attacked, or at least when we think it gets attacked, it doesn't really get stunned. Instead, it flails around randomly. Furthermore, when said bot finally follows the attacker, or at least when we think it follows, it doesn't really follow. Instead, it flails around toward some direction. In general, between the lights on and the beeps from the core, we don't have a great way to determine the current state of a spy bot, especially when the states don't behave as expected. Eventually, we managed to complete an entire demo run, but it took several tries and required coordination rather than conflict. Driving on carpet instead of hardwood with the not skid steer controls also did not help. XFactor is a 1-bot, 2-player mission where a spybot tries to mine energy crystals while the opposing player tries to drain it. Bumping an obstacle with the bot triggers the mining operation, while illuminating the core with a flashlight triggers the draining action. While we could much more easily understand the mechanics of this mission, we could not understand the gameplay very well. It seems like the attacking player can too easily track the bot with the flashlight because it doesn't move that fast and it has to remain stationary to mine. The mission actually starts with a calibration between the flashlight and the spybot. We theorized that the result might affect the distances at which the attacker can drain the bot, which could increase or decrease the difficulty. In practice, a close calibration made the spybot immune to any draining, whereas a far calibration let ambient light drain the bot continuously. Neither of these scenarios made for terribly good gameplay, and we again had to do a demo run by collaborating. Finally, Robot Rescue is a 2-bot, 1-player mission, similar to Face Off in that one spybot has to lure, or in this case, rescue the other one, this time an NPC. The player bot consumes energy as it drives and subsequently needs to charge from a stationary controller. It also needs to power up the other spybot such that it too can eventually drive back to base. This mission was much more comprehensible and playable than the previous two, perhaps because it only had one player. We could fairly easily see the state of both Spybots while driving and charging, and the flailing, following mechanic seemed to work better than in Face Off. We nonetheless ran on a fairly short field for the demo because the energy on the player bot depleted quite quickly, but I believe we can tweak this in the mission difficulty settings. Additionally, at least some of the missions have another feature that we hardly explored at all. Customizing the controller settings allows players to activate special functions after placing their remote in action mode. These actions range from movements to sounds, and some even seem detrimental. We did not try to add this extra layer of complexity since we already had so much trouble interpreting the default behavior patterns. The software does have some limited debugging and testing tools, but nothing really for the problems we encountered. Ultimately, Spybotics does seem to have a lot of depth, but it feels like we would really have to do a lot of testing to fully understand the most complicated features, and I wonder how many people actually got there. On that note, this is the end of the video. Please consider subscribing if you like what we do, and have a nice day.
Well, definitely won't be able to complete the mission that way.
Okay, so now.
Okay, so now it's drivable, but I only have 2 dots on it.
Okay.
I don't think it's battery level.